Hey, this is Paul with the Frame Team, and I'm going to show you how to get the absolute easiest light bake inside of Frame. Let's get started. So this is going to be absolute scratch build. Let's bring in a plane to walk on, and we're going to scale that up. And as we scale that up, that's going to mess with other things. So we go apply scale. And now that's back to 0, or you can just apply it over there. Then we're going to take this guy up and snap them. Oh, that's snapping to wrong increment. Now we're going to snap there. Okay. And let's look at our render settings. We're going to move over here to cycles, and we're going to grab the GPU compute, and I'm going to denoise my viewport. That just makes things a little easier. So now when I hit render, we've got a scene here. This is just like the most basic thing. And let's just set something super basic up. And we'll give this like an orange kind of light. Let's fantastic. And we're just going to be able to see this as is inside of Frame. But I wanted to show off the textures first to show you that we can have the light map and the textures separate from one another. So I'm going to bring in just a standard tiling brick texture. You can grab these from all sorts of places online. And let's call this brick material. Great. Now let's apply that material here as well. And let's get the UVs set up. So the Frame system requires us to have two separate maps of UVs for this trick to work. So if I grab both of these first, we can go over here to UVs. Let's scroll over so we can see what we're doing. And then I'm going to scale these up. Now, texture, the texture map does not have to be in the 0 to 1 space. And I would say that you're not getting the most out of your texture if you're keeping it in the 0 to 1 space. So let's come over here and call this texture. And let's do this for both objects. Oh, with that, there we go. Texture. And let's do this as well for light map. Light map. And over here, let's do this as well. Light map. Now, with these selected, I'm actually going to duplicate this material and call it bake material. And I'm going to do that for, I'm going to select that for both of these. And then I am going to get rid of the bricks. Now, this can flatten out your texture, and I'll show you in future videos how we can really push that texture quality. But for right now, I wanted to show you the really optimized and more flexible manner of using these systems, because you can change your texture from here and it'll still work. And there's some other cool things we can do along the way. But for right now, we're going to need to bake with this material. So for baking material, I'm going to drop the light value of its color just a bit. Then I'm going to add an image texture. Now this is going to be where it bakes to. So let's say new and call this light map. And let's take this and give it an alpha, because otherwise it'll have a black mask and it'll be more difficult to work with. And so now we hit new image, and then we can bring that up over here. It's just a blank new image. So then with that all taken care of, we can go over to our render settings, because this is the settings for how our bake is going to go. And for this, I'm just going to give it a value of 512 samples. That's just the quality of the light map bake. And for this, that'll be just fine. Denoise can get problematic if you're going to have a larger scene and you have a lot of complex seams. Then I would recommend maybe even turning off the denoise and then blurring it yourself. But for this will be just fine. Then we're going to select both of these. Make sure that we have this selected. Right, we have not set up our UVs for this because we don't want it to be baking. It's only going to bake from the 0 to 1 space. So when we go to and we make sure that both of these are set up as selected on the light map side, and then we can do fun things like say average island scale, and then pull this down like this, just so that it's in the space. It's not necessary, but I found that it gets less buggy. So then we're going to hit Pack Islands, and I'm just going to give it a little bit more here. This value can change based off of what you need, and what that is going to do is going to give it a little bit of a margin. Sometimes you need a lot more margin if you're going to go for a much bigger scene, because the mip maps will blur it. And so then what we want to do, and if you have a more complex scene, yeah, you can make more use of these sides, but these are some odd shapes, so we're just going to roll with it. So now we're going to be baking to the selected channel, and it's going to take from the upper channel. So, or it's going to take from the other channel. You can set it up to this, but this is more for if you're baking those texture details to your light map as well, which you might want to do on more detailed scenes. But for this, it's going to be just fine. So we select on both of these, we select the light map, select render to texture, and we've got all of our render settings set up. I got 512 over here, and then we come down all the way to bake. And this is a little bit of a fun setting where it renders from the above surface or the active camera. The active camera is going to give a little bit more of a dynamic view, and you can see how we'll show you how that can be used for a better look. But in general, above surface it's flatter, but it's going to be more accurate. So now we're going to take this, we're going to give it 2 pixels, and I think we're ready to bake. So I'm just going to hit bake over here. Make sure we have this selected and hit bake. All right, so we're back and it is baked. And as you can see, we're not baking the brick texture here, but we will grab that back on both of these. And you can see that I actually had these brick textures facing in this way, and I'm going to just real quick, if we go to the texture map, I'm going to go like, and then rotate 90. And now we have the bake, and I can just change those kinds of values, and it won't mess things up. Now I'm just going to select the mesh portions. I'm not selecting any of the lights. This is where you'd also use any of your seats and whatnot. So then I'm going to go to documents. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to save over my light baking one. And we need the _LM for this to understand that it needs that it's going to accept a light map, because you don't have to have a light map on every scene. And really, this is the only thing. You can select compression. You can do all your other stuff from here, and I'll go over some of the more detailed lighting or detailed material situations. But for now, this is going to be good. All you need to worry about really is just selected objects, so it doesn't grab the extra lights. So then we're going to hit overwrite. I'm going to hit overwrite because I already had a scene built. And we're going to, we're going to come over here and we're going to say image, save as, And I'm going to save over this as well. And this one as well, the name doesn't matter so much as the underscore LM. And for right now, we also have to keep it as JPEG for our uploaded environments. We're going to fix that later. But for right now, then we go over here, we select JPEG, and I'm just going to do this quality. And I'm going to overwrite it because I'd already had one built out. That should be the only settings necessary. So now we can go over to Frame. Here we are in Frame, and I'm going to upload the selected files, just the two. You could also put your nav mesh in here at this point, and I'll show you how to create those later. And then we'll hit upload, and I'm not going to use optimize, and I'm going to hit upload. And there we are. We have the baked scene. This is just what lights were baked inside of Blender and has nothing to do with extra lighting. Cool. I hope this was eye-opening for some. And we will continue on this series. Awesome. See ya.